And we've got all the right in the world on our side. And there ain't no reason to be afraid. And there ain't no reason to not take the challenge dead on. Because I'm going to tell you who we come from, folks. We don't come from some weak, jellyback, spineless people. That's not who we come from. None of us. And it doesn't matter what color you are, what nation your folks hail from, how much money you got. We all share the same name. We are Americans. And at Bunker Hill, there was Americans. And at Fredericksburg and Gettysburg, there was Americans. And at Iwo Jima, raising that flag on Suribachi, it was Americans. And at Pork Chop Hill, there was Americans. Quezon, there was Americans. And on 9/11, there was Americans who ran towards those burning buildings. That is who you share your heritage with. You do not share your heritage with a weak and ineffective people who cower at the sight of trouble. You share your heritage with a strong and brave people who are determined to hold on to their freedom and for the freedom of future generations. Guys, it's time for us to stand up and be that generation. It's time for us to stand strong and proud and remember who we are. That we are Americans. And as long as we stand as the vanguard of freedom in this nation, freedom will survive people. Not only survive, it will thrive. So guys, it's time to put on our packs. It's time to fix those bayonets. It's time to get ready. We got a fight on our hands. And our fight is not for us. For all those generations that's going to come behind us. Let's save America, folks.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Okay, folks, welcome to the program. This is going to be a hard program. It is. I'm going to show you things you wish you'd never seen. And we're going to ask some tough questions. Consider this just kind of a advanced college course. We're going to talk about a few things, some serious things that we need to talk about. And I'm going to start by asking you just a few series of questions. I'm asking it, would you please answer in chat? And the first question is, do you believe that right now, not only our nation, but the world is under attack, and we're going through a spiritual war between darkness and light, or good and evil? Do you believe that's actually going on? Do you see that that's what's out there? Put it in chat, yes or no, as to what you think. Many are saying yes, that we're indeed in a spiritual war. The next question I have to ask is, do you believe that we're seeing tactics now in this war that are not only much more in our face, but maybe one of the primary tools are psychological warfare? Do you believe that there's a tremendous amount of psychological warfare going on right now around the globe, everywhere else? Psychological warfare, that they're deploying it. Do you believe that now, because we live in this social media culture, constant world of broadcasting? Now, pay attention to how I asked this so you answer it right or appropriately for you. Do you believe that just like times in the past when they would use radio or television or news to crap in people's craniums, do you believe that the bad guys, listen to the question, do you believe that the bad guys, the people that want to run everything, stay away from social media and don't use it? In other words, is social media pure and honest and real, and where the bad guys only play is in newspapers and magazine stories and traditional television? Do you think social media is protected from any of that, clean and real? not subject to the infestation of crap? Of course, you know that's not true. Another question for you. Do you believe that things are coming to our shores and in our schools that are attempting to destroy the family unit? Two-part question. Destroy the family unit and destroy God. Do you believe right now what's attempting to be destroyed is the family unit and God? Right? And God. Absolutely. We know that's going on. Last question. It'll be a two-part question. Do you believe that evil and good, light and dark, which must exist for us to even be here, but do you believe evil and good, or light and darkness, are sworn, dedicated, mortal enemies of each other? In other words, one's trying to eradicate the other, right? One's trying to eradicate the other. Do you believe angels and demons, sworn enemies to each other? Yes, they are. Last but not least, do you believe you can take things that are, you know, are absolutely evil, and all of a sudden people you think are good happen to end up being saying the exact same things? That something's wrong? Let me state that again. If light and darkness are sworn enemies, good and evil, constant battle, but all of a sudden things you know are just evil and propaganda, but all of a sudden people that you know or have thought heretofore are good people, and they start saying the same thing, exactly the same thing, do you think something's wrong? That's a sign that, wait a minute, what the hell? Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go on a little journey today. There's going to be some videos that are hard to watch. I'm going to show you videos that not only are hard to watch, but are also paid to crap in your cranium. And for this program, you're going to need your discernment. I'm hoping to take you on a journey or an exercise of discernment, trying to decide what's real, what's not. And by the way, if you want to bitch this program, bitch, have at it. Won't block you. If you want to basically say, I hate Israel, it's the Jews, do it, have at it. Have at it. I don't want people arguing in chat. I don't want people arguing in chat. I want people to stay with the lesson. But if you think Jews are bad, right, or stuff like that, or Bible's fake, you're entitled to your views. The only thing absolutely forbidden here, because we've solved it beyond a shadow of a doubt, is you can't believe the PCAPs are real, because they're not. That's just proven. Okay. I'm warning you. I could have dove into research more and more on this, but we're going to try to seek some questions together. If you believe that Israel is the con here to destroy it all and they're doing everything, by the way, folks, I'll send you a link. Come on, prove your case. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you. Let's talk. Because the goal of today's program is, what is the real deal? That's it. What is the real deal? Con or concerning? Let's just explore it. You got just under 2 minutes to get friends and family involved. Let's get started.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Joe Von Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Joe Von Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, folks, welcome to The Crap. I'm going to be your tour guide into history. I'm going to be your tour guide for social media for the moment to take a look at some things that are significantly concerning. This is not a religious issue today. This is not a political issue today. It's a questioning issue. It's a questioning issue. What's the real deal? We're talking about Israel. Con or concerning? Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to show you all kinds of media floating around out there. Now, I want to remind you, because sometimes people can't see it, that, right? And what we want to do is we want to stay on if we'll stay on the facts of the topics of the program, we can be really focused today. And people can learn. So I'm asking you, don't try to diverge it anywhere else. Did you hear he had a poodle and a poodle meant this? What do you think? And try to take over chat. Let's just stay on the topic and let's see what we can learn one by one. Cool? Let's see if we can. Okay? Because, somebody might come in and says, well, BB stands for BB. You know why it's called BB? Because it's Big Brother. Well, it's actually Big Balls, but I'm not going to correct you. Just chill. Let's do this one at a time. Right? One at a time. And I would ask you, just because you even see the flag of Israel, all kinds of trolls are going to come in. If you're one of the faithful family here, do not engage them. No matter what. There is nothing to defend here. We're going to ask questions. That's it. And in those questioning, compared to history, compared to videos, you get to decide where you are on this. Do you have to state it in chat? Do you have to state it on the program? No. You already know I'm a Jew, and you already know I love Israel. But I'm not going to hold anything back. Neither should you. Let's just kind of walk through some learning and see where we end up. So I want to show you first a few things going on in the world. You're seeing all kinds of video coming out of the Middle East, telling you that this little girl was accosted and beat and starved. You care about the starving children, right? Even though if she's 22, you care about the starving children that got beat, dragged across the floor. Well, here's the person that showed up in Israel on her flotilla. And everybody's up in arms saying she got accosted, she got beat up. Here's this first part.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I'm a citizen of Sweden. If you are watching this video, I have been abducted and taken against my will by Israeli forces.
if you're watching this video, I have been abducted and taken against my will by Israeli forces. Okay. Or it could be said, I am on a flotilla to Israel. I am going to do things that are not allowed, and they're going to try to stop me because I'm saying Israel is bad and I am breaking laws. So I prepared this video in advance to tell you, if you can see it and release it, I have been kidnapped and beaten and starved and everything else. Okay, I won't interrupt it. Here you go.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I'm a citizen of Sweden. If you are watching this video, I have been abducted and taken against my will by Israeli forces. Our humanitarian mission was non-violent and abiding by international law. Please tell my government to demand my and the others' immediate release.
My name is Joachim Lamotte and I'm a Swedish citizen. If you see this video, Greta Thunberg has been abducted by Israeli forces. And I have a message from the Swedish people to the Israeli government. Please keep her. We have had her so many years in Sweden and we cannot stand it anymore. So you are doing us a really big favor right now. Thank you very much.
First, let's analyze that. If you had a piece of paper for today's program, I want you to take out a piece of paper. I want you to fold it in half. We're going to say the left side is your category for bad or evil or questionable. Your right side is for good people, good things, whatever. And you're going to write it down. So first, I'm going to ask you, what category would Greta from Greta from Norway, what category would she be in your world? Is she one of the disruptors that's used like a puppet, meat puppet, or she's one of the good guys? Put it on your left side of your paper. Trust me, do this. Put it on the left side of the paper, the right side of the paper. The next thing is I've always taught you words matter. Yes, I do think she's a fraudster. Yes, I do think she's a BS puppet elevated, right? That's her job. She's a hoodwinker, a nutcase, a commie. I'm reading the comments. Next. So let's say you've moved her to the left column. She told you if you're saying this, she's been abducted and she is floating or has floated on her flotilla. I need attention, so look at me. I floated on my flotilla, and I am coming here to Israel under international law. Just a question. She's entering a country. Is she subject to international laws, or is she subject to laws of the state of Israel? Just a question. Put it in chat. She said she was, yes, we need a stupid category. Cultural appropriation. She's from Sweden. She's from Sweden. I got to point this out. And she has taken the Dutch boy's haircut.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I'm a citizen of Sweden. If you are watching this video, I have been abducted and taken against my will by Israeli forces. Our humanitarian mission was non-violent and abiding by international law.
Humanitarian mission, no supplies or anything. Humanitarian mission, abiding by international law. Just a question. When she comes into Israel and does what she does, floating in from the whatever with her Dutch culture appropriated paint boy, the Dutch boy hair, is she subject to international law or is she subject to the laws of Israel? Which is it? Simple question. You know it. It's the law of Israel. Law of Israel. You do understand that one of the things the world is trying to do is get all of us under what? International law. Now, I just want to point that out to you. The system's goal is to push us all together in one kind of group and be subject to international law. It's why the WF is around and UN wants to do things and tell us we can't do this and you have to do this, because everybody's trying to push it to international law. So can we agree with that she might go in the category of the left? Okay. Now, I want to pay attention. When she first came to prominence, what was her thing? And you're right. Globalist law. Right? That's what they're doing. When she first came to prominence, what was her platform of the day? The environment. Is she there, climate, is she there to help Israel with their climate? Is she there to help Israel with their environment? Is that what she's there for? Is she protesting cooking of bagels is hurting the ozone? Is that what she's doing? No. So the first key in this little part is she was held up as a child as a climate activist. You're killing my future, right? Now she's in Israel. So can we agree that Israel is a hot topic of the day? Now, Greta was trying to tell us when she was 15, now she's 22, that she wouldn't make it to 22 because in 4 years, the planet will be dead. I will be dead. You will kill my future. Now, you need to understand that was a recent video she just recorded. So she didn't die. The world didn't burn. Now, she's hoping people forget that because now she's a marcher for Palestine and against Israel. You get it? How dare you not understand what I'm saying? How dare you? But you understand what I'm saying. So now we got Greta, Israel, global climate laws, just like Klaus von Steuben said. Okay, let me show you another one. We're going to go to the UK now. I just showed you the shores of Israel. Remember, all we're trying to do is separate fact from fiction. That's it. I'm going to show you a lot of these. I'm going to show you some that are very disturbing. I'm going to show you some that are completely out of whack-a-doodle, whack-off. But we have to look at them. So now let's go. Don't post links in chat. Would you please? Don't post links in chat. Okay, now what we're going to do is, now we're going to go to England. Simple question. Is England under attack between good and bad, light and darkness, good and evil? Is England, UK, under attack? Yes or no, put it in chat. Is England under attack? Yes or no, put it in chat. You'll bet you'll bippy. Okay. Okay. Great. You've heard many things in the UK. What are some of the things you've heard that are absolutely horrible going on in the UK right now? Right? Some are saying they've already been lost to evil. Right? They're occupied. They're no longer under attack. That's great. England's in deep shit. Right? They have no free speech. Okay. For this part of our journey, these are just our gut checks on our way to decide what's real when it comes to Israel. Is it a con or is it concerning? So now we're going to go to the UK and let's look at what's going on in the UK.
My name is Sergeant Payne over at Guildford Police Station.
Right, yeah,
right.
right.
My understanding is that the other day you were given a community protection.
My name is Sergeant Hayden. I want you to come to me so I can lock you up for the rest of your life. Do you think that's okay? I know you'll think it's okay. Let's go do this, old buddy.
My name is Sergeant Payne over at Guildford Police Station.
Right, yeah,
right. My understanding is that the other day you were given a community protection warning. Okay, warning you about this behaviour.
What behaviour? What have I done that's wrong?
And behaviour that is causing harassment, alarm and distress.
What, preaching the word of God? This is a crowd and they're not distressed.
Because you have breached that community protection warning, okay, I'm issuing you a community protection notice.
Wow.
Right? You need to listen to me. Alright? If you breach this, okay, you can be arrested and you will be arrested if you don't do as follows: causing annoyance, upset and distress to the local community and businesses of Guildford Town Centre. An example of which is the content that you are choosing to breach and the amplified volume of your voice comes across as shouting. This is upsetting to people to the extent that they call the police and it is amplified volume of your voice and the choice of words that causes fear and harm to the community of both areas in Surrey and Sussex. The notice hereby requires you must not cause annoyance, upset and distress to the local community and businesses of Surrey and Sussex, use any amplification in any public place in the county of Surrey or Sussex. The list is not exhaustive, however it includes a microphone, loudspeaker or loudspeaker. Such a failure may subject you to any of the following: arrest of a person or prosecution and conviction, seizure and forfeiture of property relevant to the case, or in...
So you're saying that I'm not allowed to preach anywhere in Surrey and Sussex now, or I'm going to be arrested?
It's not about preaching, it's about the manner of your preaching
So,
by using a loudspeaker.
This is, I'm allowed by law to use a loudspeaker. There's no law that says I'm not allowed to use a loudspeaker. There is no law that says I'm not allowed to use it.
This is freedom of speech. They're not aggressive.
Like, as you can see, they're trying to say that I'm now not allowed to preach anywhere in Surrey and Sussex with a mic. But there's no law that says I'm not allowed to do that.
I am giving you until 5:30.
You're giving me till what?
5 minutes.
5:30.
To stop preaching using that loudspeaker.
Okay, guys, I've now been given till 5:30. I'm not allowed to preach. And I'm gonna, if I continue preaching with the loudspeaker, I'm now going to be arrested. The world is going to see the persecution that is happening upon Christians in the UK. God bless you. We're going to continue.
We all need to hear about Jesus. I'm going to read from the Bible because I'm allowed to preach from the Bible. The devil is trying his hardest to stop you hearing salvation in Christ. From today, may the name of Jesus be exalted. Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. God bless you. Done.
Guys, I need your prayers. The gospel won't be stopped.
Well, there you go. That's the UK. And yes, if you're praying in public, no, he's not Muslim. He's a Christian. If you're praying in public, you're getting fined, warned, and then you're going to prison. Now, what was the offense they said? You can't use a speaker, is what they say. The problem is the speaker to do it. Threatened with jail. Now, let me ask you a question. On your paper that I asked you to do, your left side, take a paper vertically, fold it in, up and down vertically. Left is the bad, right is the good. Was that something being done? I mean, not the guy, but the cop doing it. Was that something being done on the bad side? Meaning you can't preach, you can't use a loudspeaker, you can't speak the word of God. Or was that something good? Right? Put it in your little category. Keep on doing it. And so again, does this prove we're under a war? And that particular war in England, as you know it, is if Muslim guys rape a young girl, ply her with alcohol to rape her, get her done, and the parents post about it on social media, this is horrible, we've got to catch these guys. Who goes to jail, the rapist or the parents? Well, the parents do. Okay, 6 or 7 guys rape the 2 young girls, ply them with alcohol. Who gets in trouble? The 2 young girls for drinking alcohol. True story. Look it up on your own. So the question is that the force of the left side or is that the force of the right side? Because in the UK, they're attacking parents, parents' rights, everything, right? I mean, come on. You see it, you know it. Okay, let's see where we're going to go next. I have to make sure I kind of have these in order, and I might not have them all. So this preacher they don't want to say you don't have freedom of religion. They don't want to do that. But they are going to say, if you say anything about Sharia or Muslims, you're going to jail. The Muslims can do call up the prayers and have all on loudspeakers, but if a Christian preaches on a loudspeaker, that's a crime. So let's go to Minnesota and see what's going on.
Welcome to Minneapolis, Stan, formerly known as Minneapolis, where Mayor Jacob Fry has turned a once American city into another campaign stage for cultural submission. At his latest rally, Fry opened in Somali, shamelessly pandering to his imported voter base, because apparently speaking English in an American city is now exclusive.
Assalamu alaikum. Somalia Hanolato. Somalia Hanolato. Minneapolis Hanolato. Minneapolis Hanolato. Mahat Senate. Magayego wa Jama Fare. Magayego wa Yarub Farid. Magayego wa Jacob Fry. Boka Magalada Minneapolis. Haben wan accent. Walala yal. Walala yal. Haben wan accent. Williging Ma'arak 10 will Adan of Somali go Layo.
And as if that wasn't enough, he bragged that even his 5-year-old daughter now counts in Somali. That isn't cultural appreciation. That's generational replacement.
I have a daughter who is 5 years old in 2 days. Ko laba sata afar shan. She has learned to count herself because the person among them that protects me, Ibrahim Jadal, is a Somali person himself. The people that advise me, like Ifra in my office, and Hersey in our community, and Amin in Abdi Kafir. We have an amazing team, and we are so proud to have you on it. But my daughter, getting back to my daughter, her name is Farida. This is not a coincidence. My family is your family. Your family has been my family. From the very first moments that we were out here, we have felt embraced. Abshiro back there is the aunt of Frida. Among the very first people that she met. And we now have another daughter who is 5 weeks old. Inshallah, it is a beautiful thing.
And right on cue, he shared a teary-eyed, bizarre story about how a Somali runner shaped his entire life. Because no American hero could possibly inspire him.
As you all know, my background is as a runner, a distance runner. And there is a long and true tradition of extraordinary distance runners that are coming out of Somalia, and Kenya too. And when I was about 10 years old, I was running along the path not too far from me. And up ahead, I saw a very tall, very dark, lanky figure coming towards me. And as he approached, I realized, oh my goodness, it is my hero. It's Abdi Bile. Oh. The world champion, the great 1500 meter runner, the best anywhere. And I decided that I would run with him.
And so I turned around and started to run one step in front of him, which is bad manners in the running world. And he put his big hand on my small shoulder and he said, Yarub, Jacob, it is not important how fast you go, it is only important that you go with purpose. And I thought that this was some Somali proverb because there are so many Somali proverbs and sayings that you should live by. But in fact, this was just the way that he talks on a regular basis. And I remembered those words. Those words were a driving force throughout my running career and in my life.
This is the same man who made Minneapolis the first major American city to legalize the Islamic call to prayer 5 times a day, year-round. From 3:30 a.m. to 11 p.m., Allahu Akbar echoes across neighborhoods.
That's the Adhan, or the Muslim call to prayer. Now, current rules limit the volume and the time it can be played. This morning, the Minneapolis City Council approved the change, allowing the call to prayer to be amplified outside on speakers 5 times a day. Mosques could broadcast the call as early as 3:30 in the morning and as late as 11 at night.
They call it inclusion. We call it noise jihad, the weaponization of tolerance, until the call to prayer drowns out the church bells that once defined the city. Now, with the mayoral election coming up on November 4th, Fry's facing a new challenger, Omar Fatah, a Somali-American Muslim and self-described democratic socialist.
laakiinse aqli aan yeelano xoolahaan gurano cumaraan ugu shubno
Assalamu alaikum. Yes Edo, yes Edo, yes Edo. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. magacayga waa Umar Fatah, State Senator, District 62. haddana DFL endorsed candidate for Mayor of Minneapolis, duqa magaalada Minneapolis. waxaan u mahadcelinayaa teamka this beautiful rally.
So this election isn't about who can best serve Minneapolis. It's about who can out-Somali the other. It's not a campaign. It's a conversion contest. Jacob Fry isn't governing a city anymore. He's auditioning for Mogadishu on the Mississippi. Congratulations, Mayor Fry. You've done it. Minneapolis finally feels like home. For everyone but the Americans who built it. The city that once built skylines now kneels to minarets.
Okay, so in the UK, and by the way, I'm just to ask people, be respectful. Don't try to hijack the chat and the feed for your own particular flavor and topic. We're doing a look at all these different things and how they apply together, right? How they apply together. So let's try to stay on the topic because this is a topic that has to be discussed. The topic is about Israel. What is the real deal? Con or concerning? All I'm asking you to do respectfully for everybody else that's here, stay on topic. No, someone come up, well, it's my topic. Please me. No, just come on. Okay. So what did we see? We saw in the UK, you can't use a loudspeaker to profess Jesus, the Bible, God. But in Minneapolis, if you're doing the Muslim call to prayer, it's now mandated by law, and it's on the loudspeaker starting at 3 in the morning. Now, let me ask you a question. What you just saw about Minneapolis, because this is the topic at this very moment, follow along. What you just saw about that mayor topic, and by the way, U.S. writes 0026 freedoms on Twitter. As you hear my voice, will you chill? Will you chill? My pulpit's not yours. We're following a line of deduction and reasoning politely. Would you just chill for a moment? Chill. That way, all the people following on Twitter can kind of follow along about what we're talking about. So if you're going back to your piece of paper and you've got it folded down the center, you got a left and a right. What you saw happening in Minnesota there, is that something that's happening for good? Is that something that's happening for evil? Which is it? Is it going to go on the left side of your paper? Is it going to go on the right side of your paper? Write it down. We're following this category. Left is, we'll just call it left, evil, and then right, conservative, good, whatever. Just put it down where you're going to put it for what's happening in Minneapolis. Now, remember what we're doing here, and this is really important, okay, what we're doing here. And I got to make sure I've got all the little pieces because I can't tell what's what. I'm just showing you what's going on around the world, what's going on right here at home. And all we're analyzing is what's the real deal with Israel. Now, of course, what can you not do in Minneapolis around the Somalis? Don't you dare mention Israel. Israel's evil. Again, just like I showed you Greta and others, it's evil. I showed the UK. Don't you mention Israel. It's evil. Okay? So, we're going to keep on going. We're taking a look all across the board. I just want to see what this is real quick. So, hang on.
If you were a British...
Right, now I know what it is. Okay. So, since we talked about England, let me show you a little clip here of England, and this is about Israel and or Jews or whatever. Let me show you this particular clip that's assessing the situation in England.
If you were a British Jew, a mob of 7th century savages feel comfortable driving through your neighborhood screaming about raping your daughters, but don't you dare post memes about them or else this walking, talking meme will lock you up. A newcomer in the UK can walk free after trying to stab you, but don't you dare describe the suspect too accurately, or else you'll be the one who goes to jail. The thought police will drag you away in the middle of the night if you dare criticize a jihadist terrorist organization.
You're taking me to Harrogate in the middle of the night over a tweet.
I am, unfortunately.
But a cultural enricher named Jihad can reportedly commit jihad on a congregation of Jews on our holiest day. His dad can praise that same terrorist organization because calling for jihad is just a culturally enriched way to express free speech, of course.
Jihad! Jihad!
With the full endorsement of the media. But don't you dare be a Jew in public or else you might get arrested for instigating those jihadis by being a Jew.
You are quite openly Jewish. This is a pro-Palestinian march.
Thank goodness Europe has those speech codes or else they might finish the job.
Free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide.
Okay, so here's what I'm asking you to do. I showed you some of the pieces that's going on in the UK. We're going back and forth around the country. All I'm asking you to do is you're taking a sheet of paper, vertically folding it in half, right? Left side, right side. And all that you heard in that video, you saw evidence. Oh, you made a mean tweet about Muslims. We're here to arrest you, right? Somebody that's a Muslim wants to stab people in the shops. The people that said that was a Muslim doing it, the police came and rounded them up. The people that tweeted there was a Muslim stabbing people in the shops, the people who tweeted about it and reported it were rounded up. Now, I'm just asking you a question. They're endorsing Islam by protecting it. You can't do anything Jewish. You can't pray Hebraic prayers. You can't pray Christian prayers. For those, you're going to go to jail. Now, let me ask you a question. Does that go on the left side of your paper or the right side of your paper? Remember the drill is, we're just trying to separate facts from fiction. You folded your paper from top to bottom, one seam down the center of it. Now you got two sides. Left side is left here, exact. We're going to talk about Muhammad in a minute. I'd like everybody to save that because that's not the topic at this moment. At this moment. Okay? So is that going on the left side of your paper that it's bad, that they're arresting people for being Christians or being Jews that they're saying you can't say anything about Muslims? Is that the left side of your paper? It's bad. Or is that the right side of your paper saying that's right? Well, that's the right thing they do. They should do it on the right, because you have to stop Christian pairs. You have to let the Muslims go because they're poor, offended people. Most of you are saying it goes on the left. Okay. You're following me so far. Remember, the drill is only, this is not religious. This is not political. This is only what is the real deal regarding Israel. Is it a con or concerning? Now, let's keep on going, okay? I'll do one more in the UK real quick. Here is a Muslim that goes into a church under the guise she wants to know about God. You tell me, is this something you put on the left side of your category she's doing, or is it something you put on the right side of your category?
Disgrace, you disrespected the space.
No.
You disrespected the space.
Oh, praise God! How does it look like?
Jesus was a Middle Eastern Jewish man who lived.
Show me the proof. Where's your proof?
The proof is in the Bible. It's in history. Josephus.
I'm here for you to teach me about the religion.
I'm telling you.
I'm passionate. I want to know God, the real God.
Yeah.
The one and only true God.
And yet you stood there.
Wait.
And you disrespected the space.
No.
You disrespected the space.
Oh, praise God!
Okay, so put this on. Is it the left side of your paper? It's insulting, it's mocking, it's crap, mocking Christians, or is it the right side of the paper that it's true and good? Now, it's interesting. She wants to know about the one true Jew God. I don't really see instances of Jews breaking into mosque, going up to the Muslims saying, Baruch Hashem. I don't think I see that. Have you ever seen that? Do Christian preachers break into a mosque and do an altar call to join your Lord Jesus Christ or anything like that? No. So again, but it is Christians, etc., that are getting mocked for it. Put it on the left side of your paper, put it on the right side of your paper. And we're looking at all kinds, and they're going to get tougher in a minute. Okay? Let's take a look at this one. You will have to read the chyron on the screen as to what he's preaching. Pay attention.
ذبحا وقتلا باذن الله سبحانه وتعالى. بكفي تسخين خلاص اسخننا على الاخر احنا اتفجرنا وانت اهل الضفه الغربيه الى متى تسكتون؟ بدنا السكاكين تطلع 5 شيكل. ركبه اليهودي حقها قديش عندنا؟ 5 شيكل او اقل ان شاء الله تعالى. كل ابناء شعبنا جاهزين للتفجير. عملنا مصنع جديد ان شاء الله تعالى للاحزمه. مجهزين ان شاء الله تعالى في حاله دخولنا للسجن للسلك. جاهزين اخواتنا كله جاهزات كلهن. يحملنا احزمه متفجره في سبيل الله. بنفتح ثغرتين في كل مخيم 5 ثغرات وبنضلنا واصلين نطربق لما نصلكم. عشان هيك فكوا الحصار احسنكم. ستقتلون والله ستقتلون باحزمتنا باذن الله سبحانه. عملنا شغلنا مصانع جديده للاحزمه شغاله. كل واحد مين بده حنصف على الدور حزام يلا.
I'm going to play that again because I want you to read this. He is preaching not too far across from the West Bank and stuff. I just want you to pay attention to the words, and you decide, is this something that goes on the side of evil, or is this something that goes on the right for it's good?
نهجم على كل يهودي متواجد في الكرة الأرضية ذبحا وقتلا بإذن الله سبحانه وتعالى. بكفي تسخين، خلاص اسخنا على آخر، احنا اتفجرنا. وانت أهل الضفة الغربية إلى متى تسكتون؟ بدنا السكاكين تطلع 5 شيكل. رقبة اليهودي حقها قديش عندنا؟ 5 شيكل أو أقل إن شاء الله تعالى. كل أبناء شعبنا جاهزين للتفجير. عملنا مصنع جديد إن شاء الله تعالى للأحزمة، مجهزين إن شاء الله تعالى في حالة دخولنا للسجن للسلك. جاهزين أخواتنا، كله جاهزات، كلهن يحملنا أحزمة متفجرة في سبيل الله. بنفتح ثغرة ثغرتين في كل مخيم، 5 ثغرات، وبنضلنا واصلين نطربق لما نصلكم. عشان هيك فكوا الحصار أحسنكم. ستقتلون، والله ستقتلون بأحزمتنا بإذن الله سبحانه. شغلنا مصانع جديدة للأحزمة شغالة. كل واحد مين بده حنصف على الدور، حزام حزام حزام، يلا.
Where do you put that on your list? Is that on a list of evil? On the left? Is that on the list of goodness? The right? I am going to answer one question because it's important to what I just played. Merica Mark just asked in chat. Jovan, question for you. Why do American Jews finance and vote for Democrats like Obama, who have brought us Sharia law, transgender brainwashing, legalized drugs nationwide, and anti-Israel attitudes? Okay, why do American Jews do that? I didn't. I'm an American Jew. I didn't. I didn't vote for Sharia law. I didn't vote for Democrats. I didn't vote for transgender brainwashing. I didn't. I'm an American Jew. You just asked, why do American Jews do that? I'm an American Jew, and I did not do that. You want to know who voted for that? You don't want to know who voted for Sharia law? You want to know who voted for transgender rights? You want to know who allowed Democrats to rise? Conservative Christians. How? We became apathetic. We didn't vote every time the damn polling booth opened. We didn't care about it. We were living productive lives. We didn't engage in that shit that we found distasteful, rightfully so. And it happened under our watch, and we outnumber them millions to their thousands. We let it happen because we did not engage. Right? Right? Etc. And yes, I told you all the anti-Semites can hammer, and you got to listen to Nick Fuentes. Yeah. Oh, geez. That one knocked down my microphone. It was so bad. Oh, wait. Hang on. Hold on. Hold it, baby. Boy, imagine that. My whole mic went down. Right? Let's just think about this. Oh, you got to go listen to Nick Fuentes on the ADL. Let me paraphrase that for you. You've got to go listen to somebody from nowhere that nobody knows, has any background, actually has no education or whatever, just kind of come out of somewhere. You could listen to what he thinks about it. Okay, have at it. And while you're at it, there's a kid that talks a lot about election integrity, has a great following, and he just came out of his job at Taco Bell. And that's where I get my election advice. Come on. But okay. And by the way, since you probably go to your oil change mechanic to get your rotten molar removed, let me know how that works out too. Dudes, here's the answer. Dude's been talking on this for 10 years. Probably the first part of that is dudes. Dude. Wait, maybe you meant, dude, been talking on this for 10 years. So as AOC on her shit, oh my God, she kept up her dialogue for 10 years. She must be an expert. Dude. 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 Bro. Dude. That's one of my, in my meetings, at the corporate level, if anybody comes into a meeting in any way, whether we're dealing with investments, technology, whatever, right? Oh, I was triggered. Oh, you got me. I was triggered. No, dude. In case you didn't get it, was about you. Dude. You. When I have grown men walk into a meeting and they'll say something like, dude, you're not paying attention. You know what I do? There's the door. We ain't on a college campus or a high school campus. That's not it. Shows a lot about people's education level. Dude. Okay. All we're doing, excluding dudes can't comprehend this kind of stuff. All we're doing is, okay, we're just trying to find out what's the real deal. We're not trying to say who's right. We're not trying to say who's wrong. And it wasn't the dudes. We're looking at facts. That's it. We're looking at facts. Okay, dude? Bro. Hang in there. Bro. Okay. That's all we're doing. That's it. So America Mark says, true Christians not voting is why we got them in. You said it again. My view is, why do Americans, Jews vote majority Democrats? I'm an American Jew. I did not vote majority Democrat. Of the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of Jews I know here in America that vote, it's a small percentile of them that actually vote Democrat. So see, I'm confused in your language of American Jews. And that's the whole point of this program. Isn't it? Let me ask you a question. Isn't it? Why do so many people vote for Democrats? Have you seen? And people are actually saying total bullshit, total hearsay, absolute horseshit. But the majority of no, it's not true. It is not true. It is not true. But I know you saw a debate between the kid at Taco Bell and the dude that's been talking about it for 10 years, dude. And they said it was. I'm telling you, in my world as a Jew, it's not a correct fact you just said, which is my point today. You might not be a hater of the Jews, but you'll come out with, but all the American Jews vote Democrat. You just carried their messaging they want you to carry. And over here, people look at you and go, you're a strong conservative. And what did you just say? All the American Jews vote Democrat. Just a question. Based on nationwide polls of every election in most states, Jewish voted into Dems. You're not even getting the point, are you? I'm sitting here as an American Jew telling you. I'm sitting here as an American Jew with tons of American Jews around me. Some of the hardest fighters there are fighting to save this country. And you're telling me most of the American Jews vote down. That's my issue. That's my issue. You're adopting a language that even on its face is punitive, and you actually don't have the facts. But we're going to get into that. Please hold on. I allowed you to hijack it. I wasn't doing questions. We're going to go on. Yes, and dude speaks on behalf of all American Jews. Dude. Okay, ready? Here's what we're doing. Newsflash. And this is what always puzzles me. We still only have, at best, a 10% population in the U.S. Jewish, and I'm giving you more than there actually is. Of those, maybe 30% vote liberal. So let me get this right. What you're concerned about is how 30% of 10% of the U.S. population votes, and that's what you want to know about. I just want to make sure I got it. 30% of 10% votes Democrat, and you want to know why it is. And there you go. See, what you're doing by buying into that stream, you know what you're not doing? You're not looking at, ready for this? 90% of the rest of the population. You get my point? See, through keywords, through trigger words, you adapt a point and you run with it. Your question, why do all American Jews vote Democrat? Put them in and vote for transgender and or whatever. Okay, so here you go. You're literally taking 10% of the U.S. population, and then of that 10%, you're taking 30% who are liberals. And that's the topic of your question. Let's look at it the whole of 100. We're taking 100 as the American population. You want to know about the 10 of the 100, but specifically you want to know about the 3 of the 100 that voted this way, and that's your focus. That's my point. You've been trained well. Now you excuse me, I'm not a Jew hater, I'm a Jew, it's best based on election polls. And that's why Hillary Clinton won the 2016 election, based on election polls. Remember, she got 96% of the vote. Yeah, polls. That's why Hillary won the 2016 election and Donald Trump didn't, because she, according to the polls, got 96% of the vote. I don't think any polling or any research is credible. You know why? Because they don't show you how they choose the audience. That's my point. You see how a little bitty twist, which is what the system does, gets you to focus on something small instead of what's really going on. We're going to go back to focusing what's really going on. I showed you that hateful speech. That, right? I'm showing you that hateful speech. Well, he's an alarmist. He's an extremist. He's doing it. And, you can't put somebody that supports Hamas up there, an alarmist and extremist. Okay, I'll go the opposite way of the spectrum.
السلام عليكم. بدي أعلق على موضوع مهم وبزعل كتير. أنا مش فاهم كيف ناس عرب زينا ومسلمين راحوا يشتغلوا مع اليهود. اليهود اللي خانوا العهد مع الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا عربي يا مسلم، كيف بتتعاون مع يهودي قاتل مجرم بتفرقش معاه بقتل طفل أخذ أرضنا وسماها إسرائيل مطبعين. بس أنا بحب أحكي لكم حاجة، إنه هذه أرضنا ومش للبيع، وهذا وعد الله وربنا عز وجل وعدنا إنه إحنا إن شاء الله حناخد أرضنا من اليهود غصب عنه. والله أكبر والنصر للإسلام.
Okay, so you heard the kids say basically the dirty Jews came in and took our land that Allah gave us. We'll get back to that in a minute. Do you think they do this a lot with kids?
إنهم هدول مش منيح وهدول بقتلوا قاعدين بشبابنا بحكوا.
That little kid's speech before we got distracted with this. Is this on the right or the left? Play it again.
السلام عليكم. بدي أعلق على موضوع مهم وبزعل كتير. أنا مش فاهم.
I want to remind you, America, when you go look at the polls, remember having a rebel flag, having a Marine flag, saying MAGA, saying American is great, that is domestic terrorism. We know it because they took a poll. Anyway, tell me if this kid's on the left or the right.
السلام عليكم. بدي أعلق على موضوع مهم وبزعل كتير. أنا مش فاهم كيف ناس عرب زينا ومسلمين راحوا يشتغلوا مع اليهود. اليهود اللي خانوا العهد مع الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا عربي يا مسلم، كيف بتتعاون مع يهودي قاتل مجرم بتفرقش معاه بقتل طفل أخذ أرضنا وسماها إسرائيل مطبعين. بس أنا بحب أحكي لكم حاجة، إنه هذه أرضنا ومش للبيع، وهذا وعد الله وربنا عز وجل وعدنا إنه إحنا إن شاء الله حناخد أرضنا من اليهود غصب عنه. والله أكبر والنصر للإسلام.
Okay, so Muhammad said God gave this land, etc., etc., etc. Again, do you put that on the left or the right? Indoctrination, good or whatever. Here's more of school kids, because I played a person supporting Hamas at the earlier part.
إنهم هدول مش منيح وهدول بقتلوا قاعدين بشبابنا. بحكوا لنا هدول غدارين وبحكوا لنا إنه هدول بغدرونا هدول مش منيح. إذا بطع.
By the way, I want to let you know this particular video I played for you several years ago, and I told you this was the USAID funding for the schools there, and this is what they're teaching kids in the schools that our own government paid for. All that crooked funding that Doge found, here's a kid of that environment.
إنهم هدول مش منيح وهدول بقتلوا قاعدين بشبابنا. بحكوا لنا هدول غدارين وبحكوا لنا إنه هدول بغدرونا هدول مش منيح. إذا بطعن بدعس عليهم. عمل عمليات. كيف يعني؟ الدعس. عمليات الدعس، عمليات الطعن والاشتباك المسلح في المخيمات.
ايش اكيد هدول العمليات ترفع الراس ولفلسطين. العمليات هاي تاعت الدعس والسكاكين هاي اشي بيرفع الراس لفلسطين.
اذا بدك بطلع بستشهد عادي. انا ان شاء الله اساعد الشباب وان شاء الله اصير مقاوم بالمستقبل مع الدولة.
By the way, our taxpayer dollars paid for that crap. We actually found out that some of the teachers there were the actual terrorists that attacked on October 7th. Now, that kid, his statements, how he's taught, does that go on the left side of your paper or the right side of your paper? Does it go on the left side of your paper or does it go on the right side of your paper? Because now we're going to get a little bit deeper. Remember, all we're trying to find out, what is the real deal? Is this all this stuff about Israel a con or is it concerning? I want to remind you at the top of the program, I said, hey, is there evil and good battling? Is there spirits, angels, and demons battling? Is there light and darkness battling? Are they ever going to be buddies? Are they ever going to be friends? Or if they were all of a sudden friends, would you go, what the hell? Because you know they're mortal enemies. I want you to remember that in mind because I'm not done. And now I pray you really pay attention. I'm going to show you a few other. I got to remember which one this is. Hold on. I've already given you that one. Can't preach. So I'm going to show you some of the other stuff going on. Let me show you this real quick.
It's already been done. There should have been no marches for the last 2 years. It's not just now. I fear that the situation is beyond redemption.
This is a Jew in the UK on the news stating actual facts on the news, but he actually gets boycotted.
It's already been done. There should have been no marches for the last 2 years. It's not just now. I fear that the situation is beyond redemption. We have a situation in schools where Jewish children are being abused and insulted because they're Jewish. A situation in hospitals where Jewish patients have to be treated by nurses wearing Free Palestine badges. We have a situation in higher education where Jews are frankly frightened to go about their lawful studies because of being frankly terrorized by Islamic extremists. We have a situation in entertainment where we're seeing Jewish actors being discriminated against, and also in sport.
Gary, when you saw David Lammy and other Labour politicians turning up at some of the memorial events and the gatherings, just tell us, how would that come across to British Jews?
I'm not a fan of Boris Johnson, but he used a great expression, vomit-inducing.
Right.
That is how it come across.
I'm just going to show our viewers what happened when David Lammy turned up today at one of these events.
So therefore, I have great pleasure in introducing our Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy. And before I do, please, 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 we know how we all feel. We know how we all feel.
Go to Palestine! Shame on you! Shame on you! Go to Palestine!
Go to Palestine, you're not welcome here. Pretty loud, and that heckling did carry on throughout David Lammy's speech.
I'm not remotely surprised. We have a situation where both this Labour government and the previous Conservative government have lacked the will to do anything about anti-Semitism. We see the actual outcomes I expressed earlier, but what should have happened is firstly, that the marches should never have been allowed, as they weren't allowed in France and Germany. And secondly, we should have gone a step further, which I know is controversial, what I'm about to say now. We should have banned the Palestinian flag. It's a flag of a fictitious country, which Keir Starmer has tried to make less fictitious for his own political ends. But it is nevertheless a fictitious country, and it is essentially a hate flag. Just as the Hamas flag and the Hezbollah flag are banned, so should the Palestinian flag be banned as well.
What do you...
So, here's the question. What is the real deal? Con or concerning? That fellow's telling it like it is on the news in the UK. If you had to put him down on the piece of paper, is he on the left, kill the Jews, or is he on the right saying, these guys support terrorism, etc.? We can't even speak about it. We're shut out. We're moved down. Which side of the paper does that fellow go on, left or right? Okay? All we're doing is a litmus test, and we're about to get to some very tough answers, very tough things, okay? Here's some of the things that's going on social media that people are following en masse. Follow along. Tell me, does it go on the left? Does it go on the right? By the way, it's under the guise of the right.
Like for me, like I am a National Socialist, and openly so. And all of these crimes are attributed to National Socialism, which are just bullshit. The Holocaust, it's bullshit. We are ruled by an international clique that has been able to enforce this lie upon the world. The people...
Okay, I'm going to start from there. You're being told that the Holocaust was bullshit, never happened. Supposedly on the right. Now, here's where I get to my tough question. What happens when worlds collide? when you have Hamas saying the Holocaust was a lie, Jews are evil, Jews run everything, and then all of a sudden you have people popping up on the right. What?
Like for me, like I am a National Socialist, and openly so. And all of these crimes are attributed to National Socialism, which are just bullshit. The Holocaust, it's bullshit. We are ruled by an international clique that has been able to enforce this lie upon the world. The people who have promoted this lie are the same people who rule over you.
The Nazis experimented on innocent people.
And by the way, Sheena says, the more aggressive you push, the harder the boot stomps on their necks, the bigger revolt will grow. Keep pushing pro-Palestinian sentiment grows. Okay. Nice to have you. Thank you. Your opinion is acknowledged. Boot on my neck. I got to get this boot off my neck. Hang on. I'll play you this.
Like for me, like I am a National Socialist, and openly so. And all of these crimes are attributed to National Socialism, which are just bullshit. The Holocaust, it's bullshit. We are ruled by an international clique that has been able to enforce this lie upon the world. The people who have promoted this lie are the same people who rule over you.
The Nazis experimented on innocent people. Just sounds like bizarre propaganda. Robert Maxwell, he commissioned an atlas of the Holocaust, which was then published by Pergamon Press. And Pergamon Press, as we know, was a deep state operation. Elie Wiesel, he fictionalized stories in his book Night. With him, they're establishing educational books related to the Holocaust. They published all of our textbooks growing up to teach Americans what exactly?
The Jews who control America, because they don't want anything like National Socialism ever to arise again. So they have to teach all the people of Western Europe that putting your country first is evil.
So what this is, and I apologize for the subliminal message under it, but I couldn't separate it out and stop it. But you have two things. Somebody who is a National Socialist, Nazis in America, extreme far right. And what it's comparing is even what, quote unquote, conservative broadcasters are now telling you. I'm going to let this play in its entirety. It's 3 minutes.
Like for me, like I am a National Socialist, and openly so. And all of these crimes are attributed to National Socialism, which are just bullshit. The Holocaust, it's bullshit. We are ruled by an international clique that has been able to enforce this lie upon the world. The people who have promoted this lie are the same people who rule over you.
The Nazis experimented on innocent people. Just sounds like bizarre propaganda. Robert Maxwell, he commissioned an atlas of the Holocaust, which was then published by Pergamon Press. And Pergamon Press, as we know, was a deep state operation. Elie Wiesel, he fictionalized stories in his book Night. With him, they're establishing educational books related to the Holocaust. They published all of our textbooks growing up to teach Americans what exactly?
The Jews who control America, because they don't want anything like National Socialism ever to arise again. So they have to teach all the people of Western Europe that putting your country first is evil, that loving your own country is evil, and they start spreading, far left ideology, degeneracy, the entire ethos of the international order that gets erected after World War II.
Which is a pedophilic-centric religion that believes in demons, it believes in child sacrifice, and it is the reason that we have the circumstances that we are in today.
The issue with the Jews actually isn't even primarily their political power. It's the kind of spiritual condition of our culture and the influence that Jews have over us as a result of that.
And they come over to America, and America was a young country. We were very susceptible to all of these things that, like you just said, that we didn't understand, like what's happened in this country, because we all recognize that something's not right. It's all about controlling our minds.
Try and go against the Jews and see how it works for you. You will see very clearly every single time that their power is very real.
They have a lot of power, and the only way that we are going to be able to fight this is by being willing to tell the truth.
When you start digging down these holes, you see why it's illegal to question in 19 countries.
The truth doesn't fear inquiry.
When you are lying, you begin to insist that you need speech laws, because when you're telling the truth, you want to debate. You may have been able to do it with Robert Maxwell's textbooks, raise generation people to think like I did, like, oh my gosh, like we have to make sure that a Holocaust never happens. We have to support Israel. Nope. Now we are reading the books. We're learning about how you've executed this. You've blindfolded the entire world to what you are. And what I think you might be is possessed by a real demon.
And that shows that World War II actually was legitimate, that he was standing up to an international conspiracy and trying to defend his nation, because Jews are the ones that are empowered by this lie. They are running the fucking world.
You pull the fabric there, and it implicates so many countries, and you realize that none of these characters are real. These characters are just being inserted into places to serve Israel. That makes Israel the master of the universe.
At what point do you wake up and go, okay, well, clearly Hitler was the good guy?
The truth is on my side.
Now, I told you, and I asked you right at the top of the thing, look at your paper. And many people will have a conflict now, because down that paper, you put most of it on the left. Then you come to somebody you believe is a patriot and conservative. You're going to take that. Those were identical matching rhetorics. If I showed you one separate, ring. It'd go over here. If I showed you one separate, it'd go on the right. Wow. Do you see what's going on? Now, the focus is on what? It's just like I told America. You focused on 10% of a population and 30% of that, what that 10% does. And that's what you've identified the problem as. Same thing. This is very telling. This is very, very telling. Incredibly telling. I'm going to show you two more pieces, then I'm going to show you a long piece, and then we're going to give you some facts that when you look at, maybe you'll understand what's going on. So first, I'll remind you.
السلام عليكم. بدي أعلق على موضوع مهم وبزعل كتير. أنا مش فاهم كيف ناس عرب زينا ومسلمين راحوا يشتغلوا مع اليهود. اليهود اللي خانوا العهد مع الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا عربي يا مسلم، كيف بتتعاون مع يهودي قاتل مجرم بتفرقش معاه، بقتل طفل أخذ أرضنا وسماها إسرائيل مطبعين. بس أنا بحب أحكي لكم حاجة، إنه هذه أرضنا ومش للبيع، وهذا وعد الله وربنا عز وجل وعدنا إنه إحنا إن شاء الله حناخد أرضنا من اليهود غصب عنه. والله أكبر والنصر للإسلام.
And then the funding from the people trying to usher in the New World Order, trying to say, we're saving Palestine, we're saving these young minds. Here's the funding for those schools, which we underwrote with our own money. Here's what they teach.
إنهم هدول مش مناح وهدول بقتلوا قاعدين بشبابنا. بيحكوا لنا هدول غدارين. وبيحكوا لنا إنه هدول بغدرونا، هدول مش مناح. إذا بطعن بدعس عليهم. عمل عمليات. كيف يعني؟ الدعس. عمليات الدعس، عمليات الطعن والاشتباك المسلح في المخيمات.
ايش اكيد هدول العمليات ترفع الراس ولفلسطين. العمليات هاي تاعت الدعس والسكاكين هاي اشي بيرفع الراس لفلسطين.
بس بدك بطلع بستشهد عادي. انا ان شاء الله اساعد الشباب وان شاء الله اصير مقاوم بالمستقبل مع الدولة.
Okay, where is the front of the American battle when they try to control America? You might recognize why they're teaching children Netflix transgender shows. Little kids can do it. The baby was born transgender. We got to get this into kindergarten. We got to get it into elementary school. You understand you're seeing a pattern. You understand you've got to capture the young mind. You've got to bring them up in the vision you have for them so you can solidify their hate and dissent. This is exactly what's happening in the United States of America. Exactly. And here's a little kid saying, Muhammad said, Allah gave us this land. I got one more video for you. It's a little longer. It's disgusting, but I'm going to play it for you. Then we're going to talk about it. And then I'm going to give you a rapid download of facts so you can decide for yourself. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here just to get you to look at the things that are going on, look at the things that are being published, look at the things that are being said. That's it. And then try to do some research and check them out. Anyway, here you go. This one's about 10 minutes. I'm going to do my damnedest not to interrupt it. Just listen to it in its totality. Okay? Because this particular one had hundreds of thousands of followers, has really ramped up quite a bit.
Fathers were very, very clear about the Constitution and your First Amendment and your ability to criticize, your ability to use any verbiage, any type of speech at any time to call anybody anything you want. And you have your rights as an American citizen to feel any type of way, to dislike anybody. And I think that the load of shit, the load of garbage that we're being force-fed by all specters of the media, at the same time that censorship is being ratcheted up to only benefit one specific race and one specific ethnicity, while you, the
censorship is only for the benefit of Jews. That's what he wants you to believe, okay? That's what he wants you to believe. Censorship is only about Jews right now, right? They're not censoring other people. They're just censoring Jews.
American taxpayer, your slaves, are being taxed to death by a government that absolutely hates you. So I want to get into a lot of things today. I want to start off with this video. Check this out.
300 students are being barred from registering for courses at Northwestern University because they refused to take an anti-Semitism course that was just like pro-Israeli propaganda. But it's so crazy that like you're not going to hear anything about this from the Make America Great Again party, the Trump supporters. Like if you don't pledge allegiance to Israel, you're not going to college. Could you imagine if this was like, if you didn't take like a trans rights course or like a trans sensitivity course or something, you would hear nonstop on Fox News, right?
Oh, and I think the kid has it right. There is only one race that is constantly playing the victim, and they're constantly...
Okay, so we're going to fact check this, right? The transgender student basically said he was going to Northwest University and that he had to take an anti-Semitic class. And when he refused to take it, they told him he could not attend the university. And this is going on all around the globe, which this fellow Matta says. Oh, if you don't pledge fealty to the Jews, you're not even going to go to college. Well, let's fact check this. Northwestern University has a program that is in fact called Building a Community of Respect and Breaking Down Bias. Absolute program. They're trying to comply with the administration's order. You got to stop promoting bias. You have to teach people we've got to talk about it all. You don't just isolate and silo. And so the college response, right, is to put out this program called Building a Community of Respect and Breaking Down Bias. Okay? Here is the program. It is a group of modules, meaning learning modules, chapters, okay? And it's part of their compliance and civil rights training that now has to be done under Title VI discrimination policy to continue to receive government funding. And that basically says you have to stop discrimination and harassment, okay? And so what the Northwest University has done is implemented this training program that all students have to participate in. And it's part of the Students' Code of Conduct. Here's what they teach you in this. Ready? It basically teaches you in different hate modules. Here is where hate is being focused, and here is why you shouldn't undertake the amplification of hate. You have to listen to everybody. Module number 1 is Muslims. Is that anti-Israel? You gotta. The first module, and we got idiots saying, "But Elon blocked everything on Twitter." That fucking idiots. Anyway, if they're teaching a module of how to accept the differences of Muslim people, is that a course that says, right? Is that a course that says you must accept Jewish propaganda and acknowledge Israel or you can't go to school? Yes or no? Well, obviously no. The next module is about Arab bias. The next module is about gender bias. The next module is about queer bias. The next module is about LGBTQ bias. Latin America bias. Islamophobia bias. Sexual orientation bias. And they do have a model about bias against Jews. Now, let me ask you a question. This falls under the university's discrimination, harassment, and religious accommodations policy. They take every one of them and state, you can't discriminate, you must accommodate, they have their rights. Let's go back to this video that's being pushed out there, and let's say where we end up on it again. I want you to listen to words. This is what's being pushed. I just read you the policy.
Specific ethnicity, while you, the American taxpayer, your slaves, are being taxed to death by a government that absolutely hates you. So I want to get into a lot of things today. I want to start off with this video. Check this out.
300 students are being barred from registering for courses at Northwestern University because they refused to take an anti-Semitism course that was
being barred from registering. No. Is that true? That is not true.
Just like pro-Israeli propaganda. But it's so crazy that, like, you're not going to hear anything about this from the Make America Great Again party, the Trump supporters. Like if you don't pledge allegiance to Israel, you're not going to college.
Okay. Was there anything I said in there that you have to pledge allegiance to Israel? I named to you the modules. Now, what this kid should appropriately say is they're forcing me to watch something on Israel, and I don't want to watch it because Israel's bad. This is how the psychological warfare game plays. And here's what you need to do, folks. Quit engaging with Shaina, the hyena. Stop it in my chat. It takes people away from learning what they should learn because they watch the squabbling back and forth. Stop it. So basically, you can basically see this kid's just total full of shit. And Mr. Matta, total full of shit. Which if he does come after me, say, well, see, he's a Jew. I'm just giving you the facts. Facts is all that matters.
Could you imagine if this was like, if you didn't take like a trans rights course or like a trans sensitivity course or something, you would hear nonstop on Fox News, right?
Oh, and I think the kid has it right. There is only one race that is constantly playing the victim, and they're constantly force-feeding their degenerate bullshit.
There's only one race constantly playing the victim card. Is that even a true statement? Who in our society right now are playing the victim cards? Well, deport ICE, illegals, Mexicans, trans, gay, Muslims, Gaza, Palestine. Really? But see, they're guiding you along a narrative, right? Guiding you along a narrative. Let's keep on.
Down our throats, and when we finally say, you know what, enough is enough, we're labeled as anti-Semites. Well, maybe there's a reason behind that. Maybe because there's only one religion that has a synagogue of Satan. Maybe that's because there's only one religion that believes that there's 8 genders. Maybe that's because there's only one religion that thinks that it's okay to mutilate a child's genitals and then orally rape that child 8 days after the child is born, and 40 babies have died from contracting herpes after they were orally raped by a rabbi. Check this out.
Tzitza B'Peh is an ancient Jewish Talmudic blood ritual in which a Mohel rabbi uses his mouth to suck the blood from a baby's penis directly after it has been circumcised. This satanic ritual has been performed for thousands of years and is still practiced up until this very day on thousands of newborn babies. This ritual has caused the death of many infants due to the transmission of the herpes virus that gets passed down from the rabbi to the baby. In spite of all the potential danger to the baby and its sick and twisted nature, it is still performed daily across the globe.
Let's see if we get
There's
this
a lot going
audio
on in the
then.
world. Okay. Let's take that one. Yes, I'm showing you the sick of the sick. What is that? What is that? What is that? By the way, he said there's one state, and they have it's only their religion. Well, he's talking about Israel first. I'm going to take it down the road. And so in Israel, you have Judaism, you have Islam, you have Christianity in the form of Greek Orthodoxy, Roman Catholic, Armenian Apostolic, Syriac Catholic, Greek Catholic, Melkite, Maronite, Anglican, Episcopal, Lutheran, Druze, B'nai Faith, and Samaritans. And Jews are only 74%. But yet they'll quote, only their faith is allowed, right? Only their faith is allowed, meaning you have to be Jew, that's it. Okay, next. Let's go into this issue of, now what he's trying to do, they orally rape a kid and they... Okay, first off, does this Tzitza B'Peh, am I saying that right? Take place? It's literally a description that says oral suction, right? Oral suction. Where does this come from? You ever heard of it before? The mohel, right? The person who would perform the circumcisions, you know it as creating calamari, comes from way in ancient times. Mila. That's the circumcision, Mila, to take off that little piece of calamari. Yes, you'll think about that the next time you eat calamari. To remove the foreskin. Why did the Jews remove foreskin? Why did anybody throughout society remove the foreskin? Anybody know? For those of you that have done deep studies in penises, maybe you have researched it. It comes from a doctrine that had to do with health first, and then it basically became doctrine, and then people, because doctrine said it was covenant. Here's where it comes from. The foreskin of the penis holds bacteria. Dick cheese. In ancient times, when we didn't bathe, when we had not much cleanliness, etc., schmagma, you're right, schmagma, dick cheese. Basically, rabbis realized when they started looking at young men and stuff, I just want you to know the history. Way long ago, a long time ago. They realized we got a problem here with health. And so what they came up with is pulling the foreskin, cutting it around the head, because even in the foreskin, the head creeps out. You know, that's why attorneys wear ties. You know it, I know it, to keep the foreskin from creeping up over their head. But anyway, they would literally trim it around. It's just skin, right? They'd flip it back and do a stitch, which would permanently reveal the head. Okay? And therefore, in nakedness, because it was a Jewish thing for health, right? For health, it started to be identified with the Jews, but it was exclusively for health reasons, right? Exclusively for health reasons. Okay? And I'm being told Jews aren't white. Thank you. What am I? I didn't know I wasn't white. You've now crumbled my whole day. I'm not white. Oh no, Matthew, I'm not white. Anyway, and so what happened is the foreskin, the fact where it came about was through health, advanced health, to basically do two things: reduce infections and bacteria and reduce the killer infections where being inserted into women. The debate isn't circumcision, and somebody asked, well, dogs are not circumcised. Why no infection? How often does your dog lick its dick? Now, I tried. I keep falling off the fucking couch, or it'd be in my mouth all fucking day long, just like my dog. But I kind of think there's a difference, don't you? Oh, shit. Did you just tie it together for me and not know it, that little suction power that even your dog does keeps it clean? Holy shit. Here's what happened. They identified that men and women were passing back disease. And if a woman had a disease, it got caught in the hot pocket. And if the guy was carrying it around in his hot pocket and inserting it into women, he was giving it to the woman if she didn't have it. Do you understand where this comes from? Cleanliness. That's why it's next to what? Godliness. Because if you're clean, you're not killing people. But for your point on a dog, yes, if I could clean my Winky, I'd clean it 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. I've just been never able to master it. It hurts my back. I fall off the couch. I look weird when people look at me, but I'm just telling you. Okay, I'm just telling you. Now, that's where it comes from. And it began to be a sign of the covenant of your covenant to the one true God. It's just true. Okay? Just true. But then again, dogs smell each other's butt. Do you go around doing that? Do you go around smelling people's crotches? Think about it. If we did, we'd have a lot more friends. But I digress. Okay, now let's also go back to all the Jewish laws. And this is where people just don't know their history. Why not eat pork? Because pork, right, which is one of the filthiest animals there is, live in their excrement, eat excrement, all this other stuff. They carry disease, and pork spoiled much faster than fish or other stuff. And it created what was called trichinosis. It would fucking kill you. That's why they called it a dirty animal. Pork will kill you. It is a dirty animal. That was called trial and error and learning, folks. Trial and error and learning. Because they were dirty. Cleanliness next to godliness. How about this? Don't eat shellfish. You got to remember Old Testament, New Testament. We've dealt with bacteria. We have freezers. We have smoking. We have cooking. We got to put it in ancient times. Why did they tell you don't eat shellfish? Because it would kill some people. They'd have an oyster. They'd drop dead within hours. They didn't know what it was. They just know they scavenge off the bottom, and therefore, if they eat off the bottom, don't eat it. No, where it comes from is people would die. Somebody had eaten an oyster, and by the luck of the draw, they got the bad oyster. Boom, they were dead. They just knew something went on, but they did not know what it was. Now, actually, it's kind of divine because if you look at certain things, there are far advanced parasites and bacteria in these animals, and therefore it was written in law, health-wise, to protect the people. So do you have that context? Why do we have that context? Well, you now eat oysters. They know how to identify what's bad. You now eat pork. Bacon's good. I fucking love bacon. So what this asshole Mata did to try to tell you Jews are evil, we got to go back in time, way, way back in time. And we got to go back to the Mila and the Praya, right? So they performed a circumcision, right, on a male child long ago. Oh, did they use precise, incredible surgical instruments, that sterile piece of surgical steel? No. So here's what would happen. Way back when everything was amalgamed, the church was the store, the church was your education, the synagogue, everything around synagogue. So the rabbis were also part of the healers. So when they pounded off your foreskin with a rock, they tried to sharpen. It was dirty. What would... They'll pull it back, it's bleeding, and they do it. What would the rabbi, the mohel, do? They would use suction. Oh, that's right. Bring it over. Stat, code 23. Bring that little suction device over here, in 2000 BC. Let's do. No. The doctor in negative year 2000, because they couldn't bring the crash cart or antibiotics, would prime the wound to purge. That was done with suction. Why are they doing that? Why is it done? It's to draw blood up through the wound so the capillaries come out and bleed and wash out the dirt. Mezitza is what it's called. And so basically, it was to prevent infection. Same reason a dog licks their wounds, to prevent infection. And at that time, blood was considered your life force. So it was sacred. And so since they knew they had to take blood from the body, it was ritualistic and to honor it, because we are intentionally taking blood from the body, and blood's the light force, right? And yes, it's unbelievable. These idiots have hundreds of thousands of followers. And basically in that active section, it would prevent infection and it would prevent swelling. Is it still done today? It is so rare. It is so rare, right? So rare that it's very hard to count. But there are some practicing sects, S-E-C-T-S, sects, that still do it. But what was it at the time? It was sterilization of the wound. Sterilization. And if you are in a very small Haredi, Shatmar, and Barbov group of Hasidic Jews, ultra-Orthodox, they still practice it. It's less than 1% of all circumcisions in the world, and even in the groups that practice it, Hasidic groups, it is 2% of that group. Now you see why. Why do you focus on the small? Why do you focus on this? You can turn anything you want into evil. And what you're being sold here, and I'm going to tell you more, what you're being sold here is evil. I just gave you the facts. Ignorant people allow themselves to do it to be weaponized. When it started, it saved people's lives. But some people like to, here it is. All that happened is we got better tools. You tool? But they know what they're doing. They know what you're doing. They know what they're doing. And they attempt to pervert minds and use little clips to try to convince you they're right.
Right now, but if you're on social media, and of course you are, because it's really America's only remaining news source, there's only one story going on, and it's Israel. Everyone online is arguing about Israel, and really they fall into one of two camps, generally speaking. So probably the more aggressive side are the deranged Taliban-level ethno-narcissists who are telling you that any criticism of the secular government of Israel is tantamount to blood libel against the Jewish people. And if you think that maybe it was not a great idea to arm Joseph Stalin, the greatest murderer in history, then you're a Holocaust denier. Shut up. And then on the other side, a group every bit as obsessed with Jews are the people who hate Jews, who are telling you that anyone who's Jewish is bad by virtue of being Jewish. It's a blood thing. Two things are interesting. One, there are very few kind of conventional Christian voices saying, wait a second, this is a secular government, another country, and it has probably nothing to do with my religion or anybody's religion. And we should never judge people on the basis of their immutable qualities because guilt and virtue are not passed down genetically. But almost no one is saying that. So you really have the ethno-narcissists and the anti-Semites, and they're at war with each other.
You're right, Tucker. Everyone is talking about Israel, and it's pretty vitriolic. And I love you, bro, but I think that we can all push back on that statement just a little bit and say that there is a lot of people in between those two categories. A lot of people in between those two categories. Very few people in real life right now in America are actually Israel sycophants. There are many of them, many of them, but it is not as many as it would seem if you live on X. But the inverse of that is this statement about the anti-Semites, the crazy people, the lunatics. Let's be real, guys. The vast majority of people that are talking about Israel, that are talking even about Judaism and about Jewish people in America, most of them are not anti-Semitic. Most of them are trying to have a good faith discussion and actually dig apart what's going on here. Because there is a piece of this conversation that is about Judaism and Jewish people, and it's uncomfortable, and it's very complicated. But that part of the conversation is very real. And you're not anti-Semitic just for engaging with that conversation. You're anti-Semitic if you judge in a racial way that all people of a race, Jewish people, are bad or evil or whatever, just because they're Jewish.
This is where I have to push back. And I know that I'm going to become the most banned man and the most censored man on the internet. And after this point, at this point, what the fuck do we got to lose, right? When your religion thinks it's okay to mutilate the genitals of a child and for that child to be orally raped by a grown man.
Again, I find this disingenuous. Right? I find this disingenuous. Okay. So Mr. Mata is telling you circumcision is oral mutilation. Right? Circumcision is oral mutilation. Put in chat if you actually think it's genital mutilation. Tell me, put it in chat. Right? I'm circumcised, proud of it. Want to see it? Sorry, I don't have my wide angle lens on. Now, is there a definition of genital mutilation? Well, circumcision is not genital mutilation, but this ignorant fool here wants to tell you that it is genital mutilation. Now, I showed you earlier Somalia, Minneapolis, Somalis, right? Do you know what FGM is? Pay attention. Mata, the idiot, spewing Jewish hate, tells you circumcision is genital mutilation. Okay? And that the rabbis orally rape, listen to the words, orally rape the kids. Now, let me ask you a question. What does Somalia, Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Mali, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Egypt, Yemen, Iraqi Kurdistan have all in common? Not circumcision at all. They actually have genital mutilation, and that's called FGM, female genital mutilation. How many women or girls in modern times have gone through FGM? How many? Over 200 million. And so what they do is they take a knife, the family does, and proceeds to amputate the female's clitoris. Now, why do they cut off the female clitoris? Because they believe that it promotes purity, modesty, and that because your clit was cut off, you can't enjoy sex and you will never enjoy sex. Therefore, it controls your sexuality and therefore you are marriage ability. So I ask you, other than this ignorant idiot, which 300,000 people follow, is circumcision genital mutilation? It is not. It is not mutilation. It is to, in fact, be done exclusively for health and hygiene purposes. It's so old, it goes back to the covenant between God and Abraham because it was killing people. And it was part of something that was figured out in a very archaic way to do exactly what we do in modern times for health reasons and to prevent deaths, prevent disease running rampant through a people, which any leader would want to do. Does it stop your sexual satisfaction? No. but he says it's genital mutilation, and this is what Israel is and promotes.
We do not have any common ground, right? If you think men can get pregnant, you are so far out of the reality where me and you are going to have a verbal conversation and get to the bottom of something. Again, if you believe that there are 8 genders, or if you have a religion that believes that there are 8 genders, that is not a religion, that is a satanic cult. If you believe that you should mutilate the genitals of a child, and then a grown man should put his mouth and suck the bloody foreskin off of that penis right after you mutilated its genitals, we are not going to see eye to eye on fucking anything ever for all of eternity, period. If your religion believes that Jesus Christ is burning in a cauldron of feces and Mother Mary was a whore, then I don't want anything to do with you or your religion or any people of yours that have.
Again, here's somebody supposedly on the right harping in, pushing you to the left by design. So let's kind of talk about that. It says if you have 8 genders, ancient Hebraic teachers or Hebrews did not have 8 genders. This gender nonsense is a modern construct. You said Zakar, Nevkeva, masculine, feminine. 2. That's it. That's 2. So where does these 8 genders come from? It comes from rabbinic literature, and basically, again, I just told you about ancient rabbinical dealing with everything health. With everything health. Pay attention. And he's trying to say, no, it's genital mutilation just so the rabbi can suck penis and rape a kid at 8 days. Do you understand what he's doing? Do you understand what he's doing? It's the divide. Basically, in teachings, meaning the teachings of mankind, rabbis in documenting civilization attempted to describe people in the world. Zatar, male, right? Nekavia, am I saying that right? Nekavia, female. Androgynous, where do you think you get that from? It's basically a quote of a person, right? A person that somehow had both male and female sexual traits. It's a descriptive term. It is not a gender. It's language. Tum-tum, tum-tum, tum-tum. That's the Hebrew word, tum-tum. What's tum-tum? Tum-tum is a person that they couldn't really tell what genitals does it have. We can't really tell. Is this a male or a female? Is this a clitoris or is this folds of skin with a penis in the middle? Do you follow what I'm saying? They could not tell, right? Maybe it was hermaphroditic, don't know. Intersex, don't know. But that was the word, tum-tum. It's a medical definition, okay? Alioint was someone who was born female at birth, but when she got to typical puberty, for some reason, she didn't develop breast or female traits, like the menses. She didn't have her cycles, but she was a female, but something was wrong. She didn't have her cycles. Then there's Ceres. That's a boy born with a penis. But for some reason, not only did he not have male traits, his testicles didn't drop. It's a medical condition. And then they have this one gender trait, which is called Adam, that they tried to throw into the gender category. It just meant all human people. Or Safak. Safak. which was used later, that it couldn't really tell. And maybe they dressed different than what they were. It's descriptions. From a medical standpoint, it is not multi-genders, but you see how they spin it. Next, he tells you, well, my religion doesn't align with somebody who says the Virgin Mother was a harlot. This is where it may get touchy for some of you, but I just pray that you have an open mind. Is that okay? And he's trying to lay it over all Jews. Remember, why do American Jews vote for Democrats? Why do they vote for transgenderism? This is the bullshit people do. You get taught to do this by freaking social media. Okay. You understand the differences between Old Testament and New Testament, right? You understand the codification of the Bible, right? When it became, the canon was created, and you understand that that was, 400 plus years after the death of the person you know as Jesus Christ. Now he's saying that the Virgin Mary was the harlot. Now, if you understand the books, there are two harlots. There is the harlot, like the whore, and then there's the great harlot, something different. Jesus was Jewish. The apostles were Jewish. The faith they had was that Jesus was a Messiah. Some of the Jews were not convinced that this person, Jesus, was the Messiah. Okay? And the Virgin Mary and Mary Magdalene, not the same things. Don't confuse them. That's not where I'm headed. And by the way, Mary was Jewish. Joseph was Jewish. The New Testament takes a definitive twist, and I'll be glad to do a show on it sometime, but I just want to tell you from a historic standpoint what it is. Is that okay? Jesus was a Jew. And let's don't run off on tangents on this. I'm just giving you factual history. Jesus was, in fact, a rabbi. In Judaism, you cannot be a rabbi unless you're married. You had a rock star at that time in Jesus that he could go out away from the synagogues and he could bring in thousands and 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 thousands of people to listen to him. Why Jesus was crucified and what they said was blasphemy, it was him telling the truth as a teacher. You see these buildings? This is not what gets you to heaven. You see all this money and the money changers and shit you're doing at these temples? That's not what makes you a man or woman of God. Jesus told you the truth. The truth. What was that truth? You don't need the building. You don't need the institution. You have a direct connection with God. Period. That's it. That's why they couldn't really find fault in him. All he was doing was telling you these buildings are full of shit. These temples are full of shit. You have a direct connection with God. The temple is within. All you're doing is making these guys rich and giving them control over you. And they're corrupting it. And in turn, they're corrupting you. Sounds a lot like the message today, right? But his message was so great, so truth, so incredible, they could not suppress his message. And you can disagree with me whether we're talking about the holiest of holiest. That's your right. Disagree all you want. You can disagree with my enunciations. You could probably find a period out of place. You could probably find a comma out of place. And yes, you can bitch about it, miss everything, take over the chat and go a different direction if you want, because you have free will. Have at it. Not the point. And so what happened is this person telling you God is greater than you can even imagine, and it's not found in certain walls, created a conflict, and his message could not be suppressed. And he brought people in from everywhere. Everybody talked about this man. He was changing the world. And the system couldn't have it because the system had people under control. And by the way, if you think the holiest of holies from the original temple on were the same thing during Jesus's time, 80, 33 to 70, you're dead wrong. Wasn't the same thing. But anyway. They killed him. And the world fell apart. And they fell into chaos. And in that mass crush of chaos, because they killed the guy, his message got bigger. Sound familiar? And in that message got bigger, they couldn't control this guy's message from spreading. And so government had to rethink itself. Government had to rethink itself. Holy shit. We killed the son of a bitch, and now it's even worse. Charlie Kirk had 3,500. If you think my program here today is to elaborate for you individually, not only wrong, you keep on doing it. I got to mute you for today's program. Quit distracting. Charlie had 3,500 affiliates, Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, and after his death, it ran to almost 100,000 requests to start new chapters. That's what happened in Charlie's death. I'm not saying Charlie's the Messiah. Don't throw that bullshit at me. I'm just basically saying things to you so you understand. And we'll get Bob Twerp again. All these other people come in, little stuff. Don't lodge on to that. Sometimes in death, people become greater. It's a phenomenon that happens in the record industry, in the recording industry, in case you didn't know. It happens. People finally start to pay attention. Oh, I didn't know this guy, and boom, it gets bigger. You got it? 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 That's the only point. The system, which was proceeding at that time in world domination, okay, goes, holy shit, we got to get back control of this. Okay. And what they did is they rewrote a lot of things. They needed to get their taxes back, which people were rebelling to pay. So in order to do that, they excised reincarnation from the Bible and wouldn't canonize it. Why? Because people will say, I'll catch me in the next life. It was a true point. So they made sure you never knew about that. They took it out and they forbid it and claimed it was satanic to believe in resurrection, reincarnation. I mean, that's when they basically said Mary was a harlot, a whore, not a rabbi's wife, not a sacred woman. That's when Joseph became a lowly carpenter of no background, when in fact he was an heir to King David and a prince himself. But they had to undo that because they had to get control back. Back then, control was words. Back then, the worst thing a woman could be was a whore. Therefore, they labeled Mary a whore. You have this guy, I will never side with anybody that labels Mary a whore. This guy doesn't know his history because that didn't come from the Jews. The battling ruling classes back then are what killed Jesus. Not, and Christians say, but the Jews killed them, and there were no Christians either, by the way. Hadn't even happened yet. See, this is where you don't know your timelines. You don't know what truth is, and you can bend it any way you want. Any way you want. I'm about to wrap this. So his little diatribe there, I'm not going to ever side with anybody who thinks, all bullshit, all designed to deceive.
Foreskin off of that penis right after you mutilated its genitals, we are not going to see eye to eye on fucking anything ever for all of eternity, period. If your religion believes that Jesus Christ is burning in a cauldron of feces and Mother Mary was...
This guy actually believes the fellow's name is Jesus Christ. Folks, there is no Jesus Christ. There is Jesus the Christ. In the Greek terms, Christo, Jesus the Christ. This guy believes it's Jesus Christ. That's how far he's out thinking he's telling truth.
Was a whore, then I don't want anything to do with you or your religion or any people of yours that have that viewpoint, because I think it's an absolute demonic cult. I think it's fucking disgusting, and I want nothing to gosh damn do with it. Now, if you're going to use every power that you have when you control the media, you control the fucking politics, you control the biggest lobbying firms, you control the court systems,
I could keep on going on. I'm not. Do you see these lies? Control the courts, control the politics, control this. All bullshit lies made to deceive. Made to deceive. Now I'm going to give you one more piece, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Do you remember this piece earlier?
السلام عليكم. بدي أعلق على موضوع مهم وبزعل كتير. أنا مش فاهم كيف ناس عرب زينا ومسلمين راحوا يشتغلوا مع اليهود. اليهود اللي خانوا العهد مع الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا عربي يا مسلم، كيف بتتعاون مع يهودي قاتل مجرم بتفرقش معاه، بقتل طفل أخذ أرضنا وسماها إسرائيل مطبعين.
Anyway, you get it. Somebody wants to come in and say, utter bullshit. They brag about controlling it. And I bet you believe Al Gore invented the internet. He brags about it. Idiots abound. You see this kid basically saying the Jews are evil, the Jews are bad. They teach them the Jews are bad because the Jews stole our land. The Jews stole the land from the Muslims. Do you want me to play it for you again? The Jews stole the land from the Muslims. In rough terms, how old is the Old Testament? How many thousands of years does it go back? In just rough terms. Okay? Thousands of years. Can we agree? Then you have this person that in Judaism changed the world, just like Noah did, just like Ezekiel did, just like Moses did, and in his time changed the world in a very radical way. Very radical way. From thousands of years of teaching to something that had been systematically hijacked, used against people, and here comes this person to bring you the one true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, just like Moses did, just like Ezekiel did, right? Just like Noah did. Setting people free and saying this has been corrupted, which is what we're dealing with today. This has been corrupted. But this little kid is taught that the Jews came in and stole the land from the Arabs. And so here is the history that this kid's never taught. This kid is taught that there were no Jews, there were no Jewish land. That was our land. And because that's what Allah told our prophet, that's our land. Book of Genesis is Noah. That's who took our land. Well, just so you understand, you have Jesus gets crucified, right? And so you have a time that had heretofore been about 1200 BC on to the Common Era, just before the Common Era. We get to the Common Era, which is basically the life of Jesus. And then you get basically the crucifixion of Jesus. And then you get the advent of the transmorphation of this fellow who did in fact bring, which Messiah means, the God, right? God, the one true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And some people say, and I'll give you an example, never in my life would I think Christianity would be vilified as it was in the day of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I hear what you're saying, but there was no Christians. There were no Christians. There were no Christians in the day of Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It didn't exist yet. There were people that believed what was called the Word, something completely different than that stands for today. There were many different sects. And then, of course, there were Jews, etc., etc., etc. In that evolution of this person who changed the world for better, Jesus of Nazareth, when the world realized what it had killed, and I'm talking the authorities, they go, holy shit, this is bigger than us. We need to glom onto it. It's happened a lot of times throughout history. But yes, Jesus was the Messiah. And you should go, most people think Messiah means put your finger in water and turn it to wine or walk on water. That is not what the Messiah means. But what happened here, okay, what happened here is as the world and everything evolved and people were battling, and you have this battling and a great government conflict at the same time between Roman and what you know now as the Roman Holy Church. And yes, miracles happen, but that's not what we're talking about. Messiah doesn't mean miracle performer. It's not what it means. What happened is the known world at the time was crumbling. I've told you this before. And so Constantine, the Great, left, quote unquote, what was Rome and went to Hagia Sophia, Istanbul, set up the new Holy Roman Empire versus, you had the world divides by popes. You had Orthodoxy and etc. They're splitting. And the world was killing itself between the pagans and between the people of the Word. not yet to be called Christianity, right? In that process, in the 400s, in the year 400s, we finally get this document, right? And we're all Judeo-Christians, and it's funny how people don't know that, but finally we get this finalization of the document in the 400s, okay? But something happened in the year 610. History does not talk about it, right? In the 110, right? And let me see if I can explain this. In 610, the world was in an uprising. There was this big. It started in 610, but I'm gonna jump forward for a minute so you can understand how intense this was. It was actually October 732. Okay. And in October of 732, something happened that the world was under a huge conquest. Okay, a huge conquest. And it was a religious war. I'm going to show you an image here. Let me put it on my screen for you. Okay. So I'm going here. Let me go here. Let me go. Hang on. Here. Now, this is the sole reason why many of you watching my program are not Muslim. So you got to bear with me. The year is 732. And basically, this is called the Battle of Tours. It's also called the Battle of Highway Martyrs, etc. On October 10th, 732, there was an invasion of Gaul, right? You might know as the Antiquian forces and the Frankish. We'll just say it's the French, the Germans, everything, right? That person raising the battle axe in his hand, which you see, okay, is my grandfather. What had happened in this Aquitaine areas of France, Abd al-Rahman al-Ghafiqi, who is the white bearded, helmeted axe or swinging person on the bottom, right? He finally got killed in combat. This was the deciding moment that would have turned all of Western Europe, what you know as Western Europe today, would have turned everybody into Muslims. Now, I'm telling you this a little in backwards so you can understand this, right? So when you're looking at that raised battle axe, that is my grandfather. It's this deciding event that changed the world in many ways. One, it kept Europe from becoming Muslim, but it also gave what is called the Great Muslim Excuse, because they said the Muslim invaders were martyred, and this is where martyred comes from. It is this event in 732 that changed your life, and you don't even know it. Now, why am I telling you this about 732? Because in the ensuing 102 years before, something happened. Now we'll go to the 610, right? And if he would have died in that event, I would not be here. In 610, a fellow by the name of Muhammad ibn Abdullah, he was a merchant. He was a salesman merchant. And he basically said that he had an experience that God, Allah, talked to him through the angel of Gabriel. Important distinction. Not that, you got to understand, it's not like Abraham. It's that God talked to him through Jibril, through Gabriel, the great angel, okay? And basically he said over the course of 23 years, that God talked to him and revealed to him the truth of the world. So you have one, which is history, Torah, and then you have this fellow in 610 who started receiving messages from an angel. And this angel, who said he was on a mission from God, was telling Muhammad, here's the real truth about the world. Here's the real truth. And so these stories started taking off, and in the ensuing years, they were written down. These happened for 23 years until Muhammad died in the year 632. Now, there's a little interesting part when I play for you this kid, right? That some people can't reconcile. Now you understand that the Quran and Muhammad is the year 632. Now, in this context, listen to the kid.
السلام عليكم. بدي أعلق على موضوع مهم وبزعل كتير. أنا مش فاهم كيف ناس عرب زينا ومسلمين راحوا يشتغلوا مع اليهود اللي خانوا العهد مع الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا عربي يا مسلم، كيف بتتعاون مع يهودي قاتل مجرم بتفرقش معاه بقتل طفل أخذ أرضنا وسماها إسرائيل مطبعين. بس أنا بحب أحكي لكم حاجة، إنه هذه أرضنا ومش للبيع، وهذا وعد الله وربنا عز وجل وعدنا إنه إحنا إن شاء الله حناخد أرضنا من اليهود غصب عنه. والله أكبر والنصر للإسلام.
So you hear him that this land is ours, according to Allah, the one true God, as stated by Muhammad. Now, this is key, so follow with me. In the Quran, which was written down years later from Muhammad's teachings, he basically talked about one God, strict monotheism, as did Noah, as did Moses, as did Ezekiel, was Abraham, the whole bit. He says there are prophets, true prophets. Who are those prophets in the Quran? Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, but then added one thing to it, and me, meaning Muhammad. I want to play that back to you. I want to play this back to you. In the 600s, this guy comes saying, God talked to me while I was wandering the desert, sharing. Jews aren't Israelites. Fucking idiots. Stop. Just pay attention to the lesson, okay? My chat's not here for people to hijack. Just listen. That kid's poor mind's been poisoned by propaganda. Now, at the time, everybody understands not only the Old Testament, What is really spreading across the world, is this new thing, which ultimately became known as Christendom. What had swept the world for hundreds of years was Christendom, people of the word. Do you understand? People of the word. So in the 610s, you have this guy for 23 years that's saying he's being talked to by Gabriel through God or whatever. It too said there's only one true God. It too said Abraham's a prophet, Adam's a prophet, Abraham's a prophet, Noah's a prophet, Moses a prophet, and Jesus is a prophet. It just added one thing. If you're going to post shit in my chat, you're gone. I'm just letting you know. We have a topic here. The topic's not to debate you. My show is not to debate you. My show is to literally forget it. Anyway, so this guy comes and says, God talked to me for 23 years. So now we're seeing some similarities, okay? The similarities are, he says there is one true God. He says there are prophets, Abraham, Noah, Moses, right? Adam, Jesus. So for a lot of people going, wow, this sounds familiar, must be good. He must have really been talking about, he's really talking to God. Except he added one thing. There's several others, but the main key thing he added was, but I, Muhammad, am the final prophet. And in that, he changed a little bitty thing. And he basically says you must do a profession of faith. You must say, this is the one true faith. So he needed every Jew out there and every person of the world, understand it in context. He needed every Jew and every person of the world to now accept 600 years after the event, several hundred years after the creation of the Bible, that no, you must praise Shahada. You must basically say, I am the one true faith. You must pray the way I say you pray. You got to face this direction and pray. You must engage in charity, so you support righteous people. You must fast during Ramadan. Ignore all these other holidays. Fast during Ramadan. And you must pilgrimage to Mecca. Not the Holy Land, to Mecca. So everything changed. He made a quick direction. Now, here's the question. Do you think the world being Judeo-Christian, was going to just immediately come up, right? Come up and accept it? Okay, you're it. We're switching to this one now. No. So he introduced a very simple concept, accept or die. And the document became about war and killing. If you're not one of us, you are an infidel, you must die. That's the entire thing. So what happened is it began to spread. Okay? This was the Ummah community. Ummah community was a holy world. This is where Muhammad and the Ummah become what you now know as Muslims. What you now know as Muslims. And that you must adopt the faith of the Arabian Peninsula, not the biblical Holy Lands, the Arabian Peninsula, and this spread across the Middle East, North Africa, Spain, Iran, and parts of India. Now, today, it is one of the largest religions in the world, 1.9 billion in the religion. There is a schism in the religion. You know it, you just don't know what you're looking at. But this is the difference in Muslims between Shia and Shiites, Sunnis and Shiites. Okay? And here is the battle within that faith. A Sunni believes that the community chooses the rightful successor. It's chosen by the community. The community votes who is their rightful leader. Okay? Now, a Sunni is a person that believes the person who was chosen by their people, by the Muslims, to lead was Abu Bakr, A-B-U, then B-A-K-R. Now, he was chosen to be the leader by the people. Who was he? He was Muhammad's close friend, and he happened to be Muhammad's brother-in-law. And so if you are a Sunni, you follow the tradition, Sunnah, S-U-N-N-A, you follow the Sunnah tradition that Abu Bakr is in fact the prophet. Now, or you're something else. This is all after all of these events. Then you became a Shia, Shiat Ali, Shina. That basically said, no, that leadership should stay exclusively within the prophet's family. Oh, starting a monarchy, are we now? Does that sound familiar? Instead of the people determining who was the true leader, not a prophet, but a true leader, it basically said it had to be held within the family. And so that is how you become a Shia. A Shia basically says, well, it's in the prophet's family. And so when Muhammad died, it was passed to his cousin and his son and his son-in-law, which is really interesting. His cousin and son-in-law, Ali bin Abi Talib, bloodline. And he became the caliph in 656. That is the sole difference between Sunnis and Shia. And it's why they fight and kill each other. The Battle of Camel, truly 656 BE. That was Basra, that was Iraq, fighting Ali's forces, fighting against the Prophet's widow. Ali won. It divided it deeper. Then there was the Battle of Siffin, which was 657 common area. It was fought in what you now know as Syria. It ended arbitration when the families are trying to negotiate this out, but it weakened Ali's claim. Then there was the Battle of Karbala in 680, right? Then it fell to Hassan ibn Ali, the Prophet's grandson, and Ali's son. He got killed by the armies of Yazid. Shia Muslims mourn annually this particular date, and it's the fight back and forth. Boom, 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 boom. But while it's there, this religion that says you must take this or die became about, and if you don't, you're an infidel. And that was sweeping the world. Now, why do I even bring this up? What is the real deal kind of concerning Israel? There was no Muslims. They didn't exist. It was Hebrew people all the time, Israel, right? We're called North America, even though we're the United States of America, even though I'm in Montana. So Palestine was an area considered a wide swath of regions. And exactly all of that area included Babylon, Kirkuk, Urit, all kinds of other things. It was not a people or a place. It was a description for a large region that came about from the Romans. So why do I do this? You're being told right now that Israel's creating genocide. The kids are being taught that Israel stole it from us. Muhammad told us God gave it to us 600 some odd years later. And that's the difference between the con or whatever. But the only purpose of my thing today, and that's why I don't appreciate people coming in my chat, although they'll give me a thumb down for it and they want to take it over. Look, if you want to talk about your belief in your history, start a freaking show. Start a program. Nothing stops you. But I'm not giving you my audience. I don't know who you are. It's really simple. Kind of narcissistic to think you can just pop in and add yourself, which is exactly what happened. And as everybody's looking towards, oh, God said Palestinian genocide, what you're not looking at Christians being murdered by the millions around the globe. And so here is what you're seeing and why I showed you this today. What you decided, if you go back and look at your piece of paper, you go back and you look at the piece of paper from this drill, what you truly know real between left and right, and what's happening is you are now getting factions that profess they're on the right, say they're on the right, hijacking stuff, and they are mirroring word for word the haters that want to destroy. And that's why this is literally a battle, a psychological operation, why all of this stuff come up. Some people try to hide it. They don't say the Jewish people. They say the Jew-ish, like it makes them it's all a con. And that's why people that they set up for you as conservatives are now basically pushing it away, because if you cleave from Judaism and Hebrew and you cleave from that, and you believe the Jews are wrongs and killers, you're ultimately going to get to the place that you actually replace Jesus as well, because he was a Jew. You actually get to where our Constitution no longer matters, which comes from Hebraic law. You actually get away from our Bill of Rights, all blessed to us by these ancient Hebraic teachings. It's part of the Great Cleave. It's why I cover this. You are an adult. You decide that what works for you. But history comes into play in this. And we are under the most heinous, evil, psychological warfare. And ignorant people, especially people who are new to their faith, who know nothing about history, who don't even study it, or people that just have weak minds that amplify it, you are being used for evil. When you can take people in the world that believe it's godly to blow up people just because they don't agree with you, which is what they do in Gaza, who tell you the Jews are horrible, and then you get to the Jews are horrible side, you're siding with a death cult. You're siding with it. You don't even know it. You don't even know it. Because the brainwashing is so intense and you see so many big names doing it. And what happens to little bitty broadcasters or podcasters? Oh, they're getting a lot of clicks. They have 1 million people follow them. Let me go over here. Maybe that'll make me more popular. And in their search for popularity, they are becoming a tool for evil. And they're willing to sacrifice you so they can become popular. And Soma Koma says, but yeah, it's okay to, watch, I'll show you how this works. You ready? Watch this, ready? I'm going to go, stand by. I'm going to go here. Chose the wrong one. Here, I'm going to go to Soma Koma. And Soma Koma, I'll put it on the screen. Soma Koma, you have the last word. Come teach us all. Right? Come teach us all. Come share with us your wisdom. Right? Come share with us your wisdom. Now, this is probably like everything else, total bullshit, sham account, but I'm going to put it on the screen. Ready? I just sent them a link to come on. All they have to do is click it. Here's Soma Koma's word. Yeah, but it's okay to bomb children with shiny planes, isn't it? Yawn. Soma Koma. Come on in. I'll answer you and I will not embarrass you. Come on. Show your face, even if you're in a coma. Show your face and we'll talk about that. We'll have a civil discussion. You are totally, totally allowed to believe you think I'm saying it's okay to bomb children with shiny planes. You're saying, how is it different? Because I have an answer. You can taunt me all day long, but respectful people deserve respectful answers, and I will give you an answer respectfully. Of course, they're saying, well, you get an answer here. Why won't you answer here? You don't have an answer. No, come on. Here it is. I will answer you upon the proof that you are a real, living, breathing person. And by the way, I will answer you honestly. I will let you have the first few minutes. See, there's no context in chat. I want people to have context. I am so sorry that you believe that I am saying, yeah, but it's okay to bomb children with shiny planes, isn't it? Yawn. And so I want to give you my platforms of thousands and thousands and thousands. That didn't even include all the replays. I'm going to give you my platform to come on and state your truth, why you felt you needed to say that. And then let's discuss it. They come back with the typical taunt, hit some nerve, huh? No, just be a real person. The nerve is, I don't believe you're real. I believe you're here to taunt. I believe you can't defend what you think. And therefore, in chat, right? In chat, and here's how they try it. But you can't justify it, can you? It's okay. It's okay. Lame. You're not going to get me with words. I'm calling you out for the coward you are. I'm calling you out for the comatose coward you are. I do not honor cowards. I do not honor bots. I do not honor agitators. But I will honor the actual human. And as one human to you human, I'm inviting you to come on and show your humanity, right? Show your humanity and let's discuss it for all to see. Now, I know you're worried that these fools would listen to me. No, I'm gonna give you my cast of fools families here. I know you have one follower. It's totally fine. I'm going to give you all my cast of fools. I'm going to give you thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people. You come make your case, and statistically, you will go from the one follower you have. You might go to thousands. This is your chance to spread your word, spread your wings, and spread your truth. And I will gladly share my platform with you because I am confident in my education, 100% confident in my education, okay? And you, no matter what excuse, he's now saying, well, you're not a real person because you want to answer it here. Yeah, I'm not a real person. This is all AI. See that? I've even taught my finger how to punch AI, okay? Totally fine. Totally fine. Okay? And I'm being told to debate here, clown. I'm telling you, I have no respect for cowards with fake names on a screen. Yes, I'm a clown. I'm a clown. I'm a dickhead. I'm a Jew. I'm a white male. I got a fat head. I got a fat body. I have a huge honker wanker. I have almost no eyebrows. I have blue eyes, right? Oh, lose some weight, fat ass. Okay, so folks, you understand here? This is why I teach this way. All someone has is insults, nothing. And that's why when you come in chat and you just jump in and you do set, and you follow that stuff because you believe it, you have been deceived by evil. You've been deceived by evil, right? You can come on and mock me. Mock me. You can mock me in public. Period. You can mock me. You can bring your friends. You can send them the link to your one follower and you can get your mom to come on with you. It's okay. I'm fine. I am confident, but I can answer your question. I can answer your questions. I can face you eye to eye as a man, confident, educated, ethical. I can answer you eye to eye. And as a man, I am willing to hear you. I am willing to hear you. Period. Now you want to change the subject to Satanist. See, he turns it to you. A Satanist destroying your country. See, you got to understand why Soma Koma does this. And I want you to understand this tactic. Okay? I want you to understand, because now it's shift to this. No, have you? You follow Satanists to destroy your country. So first off, we know that Soma Koma is not here in the United States, your country. This is it, folks. If you're going to get right to where we are in this country, you have to get right with truth. You have to get right with truth. And I'm telling you, social media chat isn't truth. Drive-by hits and slams and cheap one-liners is not truth. It will never be truth. The truth has no problem being questioned eyeball to eyeball. Period. But I can answer this one, and to honor all of you, right, I will answer it. Yeah, it's okay to bomb children with shiny planes, isn't it? Yawn. And my answer is the following. I think while people live in abject poverty, as Israel tries to give them the best of conditions, and their leaders go around the world claiming they are victims and being persecuted and beg for money, that those leaders take that money, and they go live in Qatar, fancy lives in the billions and billions and billions of dollars. But their business is war and hate. Their business is victimhood. While they live in incredible luxury and teach children to hate, teach children in school to hate, teach children that it's the Jews, and they sit there having that luxury. And then when you try to educate somebody, basically you have them come back, yeah, it's okay to bomb children with shiny planes. I've got to tell you, it sickens me. This topic sickens me. It sickens me. It's horrible. I think it's absolutely horrible that the so-called Palestinians, Hamas and others, have tunnels under cities, that they force families at gunpoint to sit in areas where they've stored their weapons. They force the families to sit there because the weapons are going to get bombed. And the reason they force the children and women to sit there is because they're cowards. So what they do is, because it's a psychological warfare, they will take their munitions, they will take their dangerous things, they will put them in a house. Then they will force women and children en masse into that house and will not let them leave. If they try to leave, they kill them. And when intel comes in and they understand where all the weapons are being stored, and these guys use them as shields, if in fact one of those places gets blown up, it will kill women, it will kill children, and then the people that worship death gets to say, oh, you killed women and children. You killed women and children. It's a con. It's a con by the devil. It's a con by the devil. Because, see, they can't even call it like it is. They teach their children that 600 years after Christ, God promised the land to someone else because Muhammad said so, and to go kill in that. They'll never tell the truth. All systems never tell you the truth. All systems have been corrupted. All systems will get and take everything they can take, which is what Jesus taught. And in order to make the new version more palatable, there was a lot of the Hebraic stuff put in, but with that one little change, it's all propaganda. There is no anything but uniparty, but I showed you today how you can show the most vile death cults saying and teaching it's okay to kill Jews. And now you got Christian conservatives saying Israel is bad. I'm showing you the con. I'm showing you how it's done. And here's what you're witnessing, hell freezing over, because conservatives are siding with Hamas and you can't clearly see it. And what is that designed to do? To divide, to cleave you from Israel, to cleave you exactly from where your not only faith comes from, but occurred. To cleave you even from your own Savior, because if you basically think everything's the Jews and Jews killing, it gets further away, and eventually you're gonna reject what they've done in England. You're gonna reject Jesus. You're gonna reject faith. And that's the plan. And that's the plan. And unfortunately, whether you're of weak mind, you buy into it, or whether you think you want to be a hip broadcaster because life defines you as how many followers you have, and you think you'll get more followers if you'll just start spinning this Jew hate, you'll get more followers. You'll become very popular in the Middle East. You'll become very popular with the left. You will begin to spew the same rhetoric, the left, the Jew haters, the ones who live in death cults spew. But what you will really be is an instrument for destruction and evil, because Lucifer, who controls this entire plane, has hijacked you. And the funny thing about it is you actually think you're being righteous and truthful. And therefore, you are willing to deceive people in the name with the rhetoric of the great deceiver, which basically means the enemy has used you as a weapon of mass destruction. I love you all. This is the truth. Dig on your own. Take
You fight for free and fair elections, invented scan the balance of kinematic artifact detection. You love to read and learn, travel and explore. You're a fearless, braveheart patriot who's opened doors. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. You lead by God and always do what's right. In the battle for our nation, you lead the fight. We pray for your safety, the armor of God to protect you from all of us. Here's a thank you for all that you do. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. Jovan, you're a hero we stand behind. We're inspired by the fire inside your eyes. American proud, we know you'll fight till your dying day, and we'll always stand behind you through everything. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior.